Welcome to the kitchen table, where the jankiest of all casual budget decks battle it out in the gauntlets for bragging rights, but most of all, your viewing pleasure. Now, if you want to join our leaderboard and win a secret layer brought to you by our partner Card Market, you can do so by predicting the winner of the next match in the comments down below. Now, today's match is between a bunch of wizards and some Moonfolk lifelines. So, Bram, what do the decks have in store for us?
The wizard deck is a very synergistic deck around wizards, but also around instants and sorceries. With Adelis, a very powerful mage, and the Beam Splitter Mace does some funky stuff with all those instants and sorceries that target creatures. We also added a splash of white for some good instants and also a few creatures that do well in the deck, like Kaikar Wind's Fury. The Moonfolk are a race of blue creatures that have a lot of abilities by bouncing lands back to their owner's hands. Meloku is a really powerful legendary creature, and they also play the Patron of the Moon and Uyo. It also plays a lot of green cards like ramp spells and creatures with landfall like the Lotus Cobra. And of course some powerful legendary creatures like Azusa and Tatiova.
Exciting! So, I am rooting for the wizards for this one. Now, let's jump into the match.
Fight!
Thank you, Nora. We already see some lands and some ramp in the hand of the Moonfolk player with also an Undergrowth champion. Now let's look at the wizards. There is an Adelis already and 2 lands, so I think that's a playable hand. I think we're off. Wizards start by going to pray in a Temple of Enlightenment and Scry, and it's followed up by a Forest from the Moonfolk player. Back to the wizards, who will play another land. It's a Fabled Passage this time. So we can sacrifice it to search for another basic land. And there is the first play, it's a Rampant Growth. Now, the Moonfolk play a very land heavy strategy, so they need their lands. And Fabled Passage meanwhile is also being cracked, and that will probably be for a island. Now, the strategy of the Moonfolk will be to build a strong board with a lot of landfall mechanics, and the wizards need just a few creatures with some instants and sorceries for a very powerful attack. So I'm really curious if Nora's prediction is right. For me it's a 50-50. Adelis hits the battlefield. It's a 2/2 with flying in haste, and whenever you cast an instant or sorceries, all wizards get +1/+1. And it's followed by an attack, of course. Back to the landfall player. Territorial Skite Cat with a Evolving Wilds. So the cat already gets bigger and will get another trigger when the Evolving Wilds gets sacrificed, because it will bring another land. Back to the wizards now. Another land. And let's see. There is the Rockslide Sorcerer. 4 mana brings a 3/3 wizard. And whenever you cast an instant, sorcery or wizard spell, it will deal 1 damage. Meanwhile, Adelis has attacked for 2 damage in the air, and an Evolving Wild is being cracked. The Skite Cat now is already a 4/3, so that goes quickly for the landfall player. Let's see if we're going to see some Moonfolk. The draw is a Kalni Ambush, so fighting as an instant is good. Getting rid of a few wizards maybe. And the Skite Cat also gets a bit bigger. It can now attack for 5. And the follow-up is another strong one. Guardian of Tazim, a 4/5 flyer that can also tap creatures with a landfall mechanic. Let's see what the wizards have in store for us. A Mystic Monastery, a tap land that gives all 3 colors of mana the wizards need. Now the Moonfolk are tapped out, they don't have any mana available anymore, so the wizards can do an attack and some shenanigans, I think. Let's see, Wizard playing is thinking what would be the best play. I think there are a lot of possibilities. And we see an attack with both wizards. Now the Guardian of Tazim, of course, it's a 4/5. It's going to block Adalis. And now the Wizards player is opening his pack of tricks. Here is an instant and the card is a Fist of Flame. We'll draw a card and Adalis will get +1/+1 and then +2/+0. So making it a 5/3 with trample. Now meanwhile the Rock Slide Sorcerer deals 1 damage to the Moonfolk player because there was an instant played. It deals damage as well. Adalis and the Sphinx go to the graveyard. And then a follow-up play. It's the Burning Prophet. It's a 1/3 and whenever you cast a non-creature spell it gets +1/+0 until end of turn and you scry 1. Back to the Moonfolk and the draw is another Moonfolk. Now let's see what the play will be. An attack with the Skite Cat for 5 damage. No blocks. Apparently the Burning Prophet doesn't really like cats. He will stay at home in his tower, watch the scene and will take the damage. The follow-up is an Undergrowth Champion, a 2/2 with landfall that also gets counters as the Skite Cat. Now we go back to the Wizards. And they draw a Fall of the Hammer. And that is one of the only spells that can remove creatures. We'll also have a Storm Chaser Mage in hand and that will be first the play. It's a flying creature 1/3 with haste and prowess, meaning whenever a non-creature spell is played it gets +1/+0. And here is the Fall of the Hammer, targeting the Rock Slide Sorcerer. That will deal 3 damage to the Undergrowth Champion, 1 damage to the Landfall player, and a lot of triggers. Burning Prophet, Scries. We see a Beam Splitter Mage, I think. And then another spell is the follow-up. That's great for the prowess, or not. Another spell will mean another point of damage by the Rock Slide Sorcerer. And I think it can be maybe even a lethal attack. There is Slip Through Space. 1 more damage. Card has been drawn. And then the attack. And that's exactly 9 points of damage.
Knockout!
Wow, I didn't see that one coming.
Yes, the Wizards did it. A point for me in the leaderboard. Now, you can join the leaderboard too by predicting the next winner and commenting it down below. And maybe you will win a secret layer drop. And if you want some more info on how this works, click the link in the top right corner. Or if you want some help, check out the deck tags below. Thanks for watching and remember, always keep it casual.
Bye!